Welcome to the ultimate deep dive into the untold stories of the biggest boy band on Earth. We know them as untouchable idols, but behind the global fame lies the grounding force of family. Today, we are peeling back the layers of the most heartwarming, hilarious, and intense father-son relationships in BTS history. Who was raised with strict discipline? Who inherited the legendary dad joke gene? And the ultimate mystery that has ARMY buzzing, which member is treated with such overwhelming devotion by his dad that he's practically living like royalty? Is it the spoiled golden maknae, or perhaps the charismatic leader? Get your tissues ready and buckle up, because this countdown is full of emotional twists and shocking facts. Who truly wears the crown at home? Number 7. Suga, the hard-won respect of a stoic father, from Daegu with tough love. If we are talking about a father-son dynamic that feels less like a fairy tale of blind pampering and more like a gritty, Oscar-winning drama about overcoming generational gaps, we have to start our countdown right here in the heart of Daegu. At number 7, we have the lyrical genius, the Hand of Midas, Min Yoongi, better known to the world as Suga. Now, why does the man who seemingly holds the music industry in the palm of his hand land at the start of our list? Because, ladies and gentlemen, his journey with his father wasn't about being treated like a prince from day one. It was a war for recognition, a battle of wills that forged a diamond under immense pressure. Imagine the atmosphere of a conservative household in Daegu, a city known for its traditional values and stoic men. Yoongi's father wasn't the type to shower his son with praise or treat him like a fragile porcelain doll. He was the embodiment of the tiger dad archetype, strict, realistic, and terrifyingly pragmatic. While other members might have had fathers who bought them instruments or drove them to auditions with a smile, Yoongi's father stood as the initial antagonist in his hero's journey, a narrative arc that makes their current relationship so much more profound and earned. We need to go back to the days before the glitz and the glamour, back when Yoongi was just a boy with a notepad full of rhymes and a heart full of angst. His father, a man who worked a stable corporate job, looked at his son's dreams of becoming a musician not with awe, but with fear and disdain. In his eyes, music wasn't a career. It was a fast track to poverty and suffering. The tension in the Min household was palpable, thick enough to cut with a knife. There are legendary, heartbreaking stories that every hardcore ARMY knows. Stories of lyrics being torn up, of music sheets thrown in the trash, of a father desperately trying to steer his son toward a normal civil service job. This wasn't because he hated his son, it was a twisted form of love, a desire to protect Yoongi from the harsh realities of an industry where 99% fail. But for a young, sensitive artist, it felt like rejection. It felt like the one person who should believe in you the most was actually your biggest critic. Yoongi didn't get the king treatment, he got the recruit treatment. He was forced to leave home, to struggle in Seoul, selling songs for pennies just to buy ramen, surviving a shoulder injury while working as a delivery driver, a secret he kept from his family for years because he knew his father would drag him back to Daegu if he found out. This backstory is essential because it sets the stage for the massive emotional payoff that defines their relationship today. This isn't a story of a boy who was handed the world. It's the story of a boy who had to conquer his father's doubts to build his own kingdom. The turning point, the moment that shifted the tectonic plates of their relationship, is etched in BTS history forever. The most beautiful moment in life on stage epilogue concert in 2016. Picture the scene, thousands of ARMY bombs glowing, the roar of the crowd, and there, in the audience, sat the stoic Min father. When Yoongi spotted his parents, he didn't just wave, he collapsed. He bowed deep, his forehead touching the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. It was the moment the wall came down. It was the moment of validation he had chased his entire life. His father, the man who once opposed his dreams, was now witnessing the undeniable reality of his son's success. That bow wasn't just respect, it was a release of years of resentment and the beginning of acceptance. Since that day, the dynamic has shifted from opposition to a hilarious, savage camaraderie that fits the Min DNA perfectly. Yoongi's father doesn't treat him like a king in the sense of pampering him with grapes and fanning him with palm leaves. Instead, he treats him with the distinct, dry humor that Yoongi clearly inherited. We've heard the stories like when his dad bluntly told him, "I don't know why people like you so much." Or when he commented on Yoongi's variety show appearance, saying he looked short and chubby compared to the others. It's a love language wrapped in roasting. It's the kind of relationship where affection is shown through teasing and a quiet, unstated pride rather than overt displays of emotion. There is a famous anecdote where Yoongi talked about his dad watching his content, analyzing it, and giving feedback that sounds more like an anti-fan comment than a dad praise. Yet Yoongi recounts these stories with a gummy smile. Why? Because the attention itself is the victory. The fact that his father, who once tore up his lyrics, is now consuming every piece of media his son produces is the ultimate triumph. Even recently, during his solo tour or D-Day promotions, the support from his family has been a silent pillar. His father isn't the type to wear a "I love Suga" t-shirt, but he is the type to quietly boast to his friends while maintaining a poker face. In the hierarchy of king treatment, Suga ranks at number 7 not because there is a lack of love, absolutely not, but because his father's love is tough, grounding, and devoid of the pedestal worship that some of the other members experience. Yoongi isn't a king to his father. He is a son who proved his father wrong, and that dynamic creates a relationship of equals, of two men who understand each other's stubbornness. It's a relationship where Yoongi is constantly humbled, reminded of his roots, and treated like a regular Daegu guy rather than a global pop star. His dad keeps him grounded, ensuring his head never gets too big for his hats. It's an Edu-Tainment lesson in Asian parenting styles. Sometimes the deepest love is found not in the spoiling, but in the friction that sharpens you. So while he might not be served breakfast in bed or called Your Highness at the dinner table, Min Yoongi has earned something far more valuable: the grudging, savage, deep-seated respect of a man who was once his biggest obstacle. And honestly, knowing Yoongi's personality, he probably prefers this savage dynamic over being coddled any day. But as we move up this list, get ready, because the king energy starts to ramp up, and the dads get significantly softer, sweeter, and more willing to treat their sons like actual royalty. Who could possibly be next? Number 6. RM, the intellectual titan, from academic battlegrounds to unspoken pride, the son who outgrew the nest. Moving up the ladder to number 6, we encounter a relationship that is less about being pampering and more about a profound intellectual passing of the torch. We are talking about the leader of the pack, the president of ARMY's hearts, Kim Namjoon, also known as RM. Why does the man who leads the biggest band in the world sit at number 6? Because his relationship with his father is the ultimate edutainment case study of a traditional Korean father-son dynamic evolving into a partnership of mutual respect. If Suga's story was a war, RM's story was a high-stakes negotiation, a clash of intellects that would determine the fate of music history. To understand this dynamic, you have to transport yourself to the high-pressure environment of Ilsan, where academic excellence wasn't just a goal, it was a requirement for survival. RM's father wasn't a villain. He was a successful employee at a major telecommunications company, a man who understood the safety of a corporate path. He looked at his son, a prodigy with an IQ of 148, ranking in the top 1% of the nation in mock exams, and saw a future diplomat, a lawyer, a business leader. So, when young Namjoon started sneaking out to underground rap battles and filling notebooks with lyrics instead of equations, it wasn't just teenage rebellion in his father's eyes. It was a tragic waste of potential. The king treatment? Far from it. Namjoon was treated like a high-value asset that needed to be managed. The tension in the Kim household was psychological and intense. We have to talk about that legendary, pivotal moment that changed everything: the ultimatum. This wasn't a shouting match, it was a logical debate between father and son that felt like a courtroom drama. Namjoon, desperate to follow his passion, posed the question that would become BTS folklore. Dad, do you want a son who is in 5,000th place in studies, or a son who is number 1 in rap? It was a gamble. It was a bluff. But it was the moment RM asserted his own sovereignty. His father, recognizing the fire and the logic in his son's eyes, finally relented, but it wasn't a "here is my credit card, go have fun" moment. It was a "prove it" moment. This places him at number 6 because for a long time, RM wasn't treated like a king. He was treated like a project with a high risk of failure. He had to earn every ounce of his father's approval through tangible results. But here is where the edutainment twist comes in. Fast forward to the present day, and the dynamic has completely flipped, yet it retains that grounded masculine energy. Now that RM has conquered the world, his father doesn't treat him like a fragile prince to be coddled, he treats him like a fellow titan. We see this in the way they bond over shared interests. Unlike the service-oriented love we will see later in this list, RM's dad shows his love through imitation and intellectual engagement. Have you noticed RM's impeccable, expensive taste in art and Americana vintage fashion? Fans have spotted his dad wearing similar styles, rocking the Visvim brands, visiting the art galleries that Namjoon recommends. It's the ultimate form of flattery. His father has transitioned from the skeptical supervisor to the proudest fanboy who wants to walk in his son's footsteps. There is a beautiful, reflective quality to their relationship now. RM has often spoken about his father with a sense of deep, mature love, describing him as someone he wants to resemble as he grows older. But notice the direction of the admiration. It's RM looking up to his dad, and his dad looking at RM with a gaze of, "You did it, son." It's a relationship of equals. When RM goes home, he isn't necessarily getting breakfast in bed brought to him by a doting dad. Instead, they are likely sitting down with a drink, discussing the complexities of life, art, and the weight of leadership. His father treats him with the deference one gives to a successful man, not the spoiling one gives to a child. There is a story RM told about his dad's reaction to his fame, mentioning how his dad cheekily uses the BTS RM's father title to his advantage in his social circles. It's hilarious, real, and shows a comfortable, joking bond. But why not higher on the list? Because RM is the pillar. He is the one who often takes care of the family, the one who carries the burden. His father respects his strength rather than trying to shield him from the world. In the narrative of who is treated like a king, RM is the one times being times the king, and his father is the proud advisor standing by his side. It's a bond forged in fire and solidified in success, lacking the babying factor but overflowing with proud dad energy. It is a story that tells every viewer, sometimes you have to fight your father's expectations to become the man he always wanted you to be. And as we prepare to move into the top 5, the atmosphere is about to shift. We are leaving the zone of strict dads turned proud and entering the territory of fathers who are eccentric, wealthy, or just plain obsessed with their superstar sons. Who is next? Number 5, J-Hope, the Sunshine Prince of Gwangju, a literature teacher's greatest poem, immortalized in stone. We are packing our bags and heading straight down south to the vibrant city of Gwangju for number 5. If the previous entries were about battles and negotiations, this one is about a glorious, heartwarming metamorphosis. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for the Golden Hyung, the dance commander Young Ho-sok, aka J-Hope. Why does he land here in the king treatment hierarchy? Because his relationship with his father is the perfect example of how traditional authority can melt into pure, unadulterated fanboy adoration. You have to understand the context to feel the weight of this royalty status. J-Hope's father wasn't just any dad, he was a literature teacher. In South Korean culture, a teacher especially of literature commands immense respect, embodying discipline, intellect, and a rigid adherence to structure. Imagine growing up in a house where the patriarch is a man of letters, a man of quiet dignity, and you are Hobie, a ball of kinetic energy obsessed with street dance, popping, and locking in underground clubs. The contrast is cinematic. In the early days, J-Hope wasn't treated like a king. He was treated like a concern. There were no red carpets rolled out in the living room. There was likely silence and worry. A literature teacher father dreams of a son who reads poetry, not one who spins on his head. But here is the Edu-Tainment plot twist that skyrockets him to number 5. The king treatment J-Hope receives today is unique because it is Time's immortalized asterisk. We are not talking about expensive cars or cash. We are talking about a legacy. J-Hope's father has become famous in the fandom for his unique hobby, collecting susiok, viewing stones. This is a refined elderly gentleman's hobby, requiring patience and an eye for natural beauty. And what does the father do? He treats his son like a rare, precious stone. There is a legendary story where his father found a stone that naturally formed the pattern of BTS, or concepts related to his son. It's symbolic. To a man of his generation and profession, integrating his son into his life's passion is the highest form of honoring him. It's treating J-Hope not just as a celebrity, but as a piece of art. The dynamic has shifted from teacher and student to creator and muse. When J-Hope visits Gwangju, he is the prince returning to his castle. The stories from the young household are filled with a warmth that is distinct from the strictness of Suga's dad or the intellectual sparring of RM's dad. J-Hope's dad has been spotted by fans, and what strikes everyone is his smile. The Hobie smile is genetic. It's a direct copy-paste. The way his father interacts with him now is with a beaming, soft pride that borders on reverence. He treats J-Hope like the sun that lights up the family's life. During J-Hope's solo endeavors, like Jack in the Box, the support from home is palpable, a silent but sturdy foundation that allows Hobie to fly. The king aspect here is emotional safety. His father, the once stern teacher, has created a sanctuary where J-Hope can drop the global superstar persona and just be the beloved son. It's a relationship where the father seemingly says, "I taught literature, but you wrote the greatest story." There's a specific instance where J-Hope mentioned his dad's voice and mannerisms, and you can hear the deep affection. It's not the bro vibe, it's a "my son, the hero" vibe. The way his family handles his fame in Gwangju, often dealing with fans visiting their businesses or landmarks associated with him, shows a protective royal guard mentality. They honor his privacy while celebrating his achievements. J-Hope sits at number 5 because the treatment he gets is a blend of deep traditional respect and a soft, yielding love that makes him the undisputed center of the family's universe. He is the hope of the clan, and his father, the literature teacher, ensures that this narrative is preserved with the dignity of a classic novel. It is a wholesome, tear-jerking, feel-good chapter in the BTS saga that proves even the strictest backgrounds can produce the sunniest relationships. But as we climb higher, the king treatment is about to get more tangible, more vocal, and perhaps a little more spoiled. Who cracks the top 4? Number 4. Jungkook, the golden maknae, the son of the coolest guy in Busan, a prince given the keys to the kingdom of freedom. We are entering the upper echelon of our countdown, and the atmosphere is shifting dramatically. If the previous entries were about earning respect or bridging generational gaps, number 4 is about a father-son dynamic that feels like it was written for a modern webtoon about the coolest family on earth. We are talking about the man who can do everything, the center of BTS, Jungkook. Why does the golden maknae land at number 4? Because his father treats him not just like a son, but like a free-spirit king, who was granted the ultimate luxury in South Korean society, the freedom to fail and the freedom to fly. To understand the royal treatment Jungkook receives, you first have to visualize his father. We are not talking about a traditional stern patriarch in a suit. No, Jungkook's father is legendary in the fandom for being young, born in 1971. He's actually younger than Jungkook's mother. Handsome and overflowing with an artistic, cool guy swagger that Jungkook inherited directly. The king treatment here isn't about being served tea, it's about being given the keys to the kingdom of autonomy from day one. Think about the intense pressure cooker of the South Korean education system, where parents often micromanage every hour of their child's study time. Now, contrast that with the Jeon household. There is a famous, mind-blowing anecdote that Jungkook has shared with a grin. He once cheated on a spelling test, or got a terrible grade. The details vary in retellings, but the core is the same, because he wanted to play or just didn't care. When he brought the results home, terrified of a scolding, his father delivered a line that should be framed in the Hall of Fame of parenting. He didn't yell, he didn't ground him. He simply said, "I don't care about your grades. I don't care if you get a 0, but if you lie or cheat, that is a problem." Boom! In that moment, his father treated him like a man with a moral compass rather than a grade-producing machine. He gave Jungkook the royal decree of, "Do what makes you happy, just be a good person." That level of trust and relaxation is a form of pampering that is rarer than gold. It allowed Jungkook to focus on his passions, dancing, singing, sports without the crushing weight of academic expectation. But the king status goes deeper into their genetic bond. Jungkook's father treats his son like his ultimate masterpiece. We know Jungkook is the golden maknae with talents in painting and drawing, but where did that come from? It came straight from Papa Jun. His father is an incredible artist. There was a time when his father drew a portrait of Jungkook, a pencil sketch so detailed and professional that it left armies gasping for air. It wasn't just a drawing, it was a father looking at his son with the eyes of an admirer, capturing his essence on paper. Imagine your dad being your best fan artist. That is a unique kind of devotion. It's a relationship where the father looks at the son and sees a cooler, more successful version of himself, and instead of jealousy, there is pure, unadulterated hype. The edutainment aspect here is the buddy dynamic. Jungkook has often described his dad as cool and someone he jokes around with. They share a love for sports, for being active, for bowling, and recently, boxing. When Jungkook posts boxing videos, you can almost feel the energy of his dad cheering him on, likely having taught him a move or two. His father doesn't treat him like a fragile idol who needs protection. He treats him like a champion gladiator. There's also the legendary conception dream story, the golden rain that fell over the city, which his parents interpreted as a sign of his greatness. From before he was even born, the narrative in the John household was that Jungkook was special, destined for something massive. Growing up with that kind of spiritual backing, the belief that you are a golden child, instills a confidence that is unshakable. And let's not forget the financial and lifestyle support. While Jungkook is now a multimillionaire, the initial support to send a 15-year-old boy all the way from Busan to Seoul requires a father to have a heart of steel and a wallet open to risk. His father let him go. He didn't clip the bird's wings. He opened the cage and said, "Go conquer the world." That is the ultimate act of service. Even now, in the rare glimpses we get, the interactions are filled with a prankster vibe. Jungkook playing jokes on his dad playing jokes back. It's a relationship devoid of the stuffy hierarchy that plagues many families. Jungkook is the king of his own life because his father voluntarily stepped down from the role of authoritarian ruler to become the trusty advisor and best friend. It's a modern, refreshing, and deeply loving dynamic that proves you don't need to be strict to raise a superstar. You just need to be cool, supportive, and trust that your son has the golden touch. But hold on to your hats, because as we enter the top 3, we are moving from cool dads to fathers who are practically running fan clubs and building empires for their sons. Who takes the bronze medal? Number 3, Jimin, the Prince of Busan, a father's living shrine, and the cafe that love built. We are landing softly but majestically in the coastal city of Busan for number 3, bowing down to the undeniable prince, the fairy of the group, Park Jimin. Why does Jimin take the bronze medal in this fierce competition of fatherly devotion? Because his father, Mr. Park, has redefined what it means to be a supportive dad in the 21st century, elevating his treatment of Jimin from simple parenting to a form of devoted stewardship that borders on worship. To understand why Jimin is treated like a king, you have to look at the physical evidence, the monuments, and the public declarations that his father constantly offers. In a culture where fathers of that generation are often expected to be silent, stoic providers who express love only through hard work and grunts, Jimin's father is a revolutionary anomaly. He wears his heart on his sleeve, or rather, he puts his heart on giant ribbons attached to massive flower bouquets. You know exactly what I am talking about. Every year, without fail, on Jimin's birthday or during major concerts, a colossal arrangement of flowers arrives, often towering over the staff, bearing a message that melts the knees of anyone who reads it. To my lovely son, Jimin. I love you, my son. These aren't just flowers, they are royal decrees of affection. Imagine the scene backstage. Amidst the chaos of hair and makeup, the stress of performance, there stands a garden sent by his father. A constant, colorful reminder that no matter how big the world gets, he is still his daddy's little boy. This public display of softness is rare. It tells Jimin, I am not afraid to show the world how much I adore you. But the king treatment goes far beyond Flora. We have to talk about the palace. Yes, I am referring to Time's Magnate Asterisk, the cafe owned and operated by Jimin's father in Busan. This isn't just a business, it is a sanctuary. It is a museum. It is a love letter constructed of brick, mortar, and coffee beans. When you walk into that space, you aren't just buying an iced Americano. You are entering a space curated by a father to honor his son. The display cases often feature Jimin's hats, his albums, little mementos that his father cherishes. Mr. Park is frequently seen there, not hiding in an office, but walking the floor, greeting armies with a kindness and gentleness that mirrors Jimin's own personality perfectly. Fans who have met him describe him as radiating pride. He accepts letters for Jimin, he smiles at the fans wearing Jimin merchandise, and he treats every visitor like a guest of the royal family. He isn't just cashing in on his son's fame, he is protecting and nurturing the community that loves his son. He acts as the benevolent viceroy of Jimin's kingdom in Busan. This level of involvement shows that he treats Jimin not just as a son, but as a legacy that needs to be cared for with white gloves. And let's rewind to the origin story. The Edu-Tainment history lesson that proves this treatment wasn't just a result of fame. It was there from the start. When Jimin was a student, he fell in love with contemporary dance, a field that, let's be honest, many traditional fathers might have scoffed at or worried about due to its financial instability. But what did Mr. Park do? He didn't just allow it, he championed it. He supported Jimin attending the Busan High School of Arts, where Jimin became the top student. There is a profound story where Jimin's teacher told Mr. Park about Jimin's rare potential, and his father listened, absorbed it, and gave Jimin the green light to pursue this arduous path. He treated Jimin's talent as a precious gem that needed polishing, not a distraction to be crushed. Even when Jimin was uncertain, his father was the rock. We have heard the phone calls on variety shows, that specific Busan Satori accent dripping with sweetness. When Jimin says, "Appa," the voice that answers is always filled with a warmth that feels like a hug. It's a relationship of deep emotional intimacy. His father is also his philanthropy partner. When Jimin donates secretly or openly to education departments in Busan, it is often his father who handles the logistics, who delivers the funds, who ensures the help gets to the students who need it. This implies a level of trust and partnership that is kingly. He treats Jimin as a benefactor, a man of status who can change the world, and he acts as his hands and feet on the ground. This dynamic places Jimin at number 3 because he is treated with a mixture of precious baby energy and respected partner energy. His father shields him from the mundane worries of home life, manages the flood of love from fans in his hometown, and constantly reaffirms his love verbally and physically. Jimin is a king to his father because his father has made it his life's mission to ensure Jimin feels supported, loved, and celebrated every single day. It is a soft, beautiful, and tear-jerking example of a father who is his son's biggest, loudest, and proudest fan, but the competition is stiff. As we move to the top 2, we are leaving the realm of supportive and sweet and entering the zone of spoiled rotten and genetic carbon copies. Who takes the silver medal? Number 2, V, the visual emperor, the son of a gentleman, protected by the most legendary jacket in K-pop history. We have reached the silver medal position, and the emotional intensity is about to skyrocket to levels that will leave you absolutely breathless. If the previous entries were about support, freedom, or pride, Number 2 is about a love so fierce, so protective, and so sacrificial that it literally created a shield for a young boy entering the battlefield of soul. We are talking about the man with the face of a god and the soul of a jazz musician, Kim Taehyung, the one and only V. Why does he sit on the throne at number 2? Because his father treated him like a king when he had absolutely nothing, ensuring that his son would walk with his head held high even among the wolves. To understand this royal treatment, we must travel back to the humble beginnings in Gyeochang, a rural area far removed from the neon lights of the capital. Taehyung wasn't born into the lap of luxury, he was a farm boy at heart, raised with old-fashioned values and a deep connection to his family. But here is the cinematic twist that lands him this high on the list. The Legend of the Red Jacket. This is a story that is etched into the Bible of BTS history. When a young, wide-eyed Taehyung prepared to transfer to a school in the intimidating, fashion-conscious city of Seoul, his father was terrified, not for his grades, but for his dignity. He knew that Seoul kids could be cruel, that they judged you by the labels on your back. So, what did this father do? He didn't just give a pep talk. He went out and bought Taehyung an incredibly expensive, premium padded jacket, the kind that was a status symbol, the kind that cost a fortune for a regular family. He treated his son like a king by armoring him in luxury so that no one, absolutely no one, would dare to look down on him. When V arrived in Seoul, he looked so fancy that the other members initially thought he was a spoiled rich kid. They didn't know that the jacket was a father's desperate loving shield, a physical manifestation of the vow. My son will not be bullied. My son will be respected. That is the ultimate act of a kingmaker. It wasn't about vanity, it was about protecting his son's spirit. But the king treatment didn't stop with a jacket. It is woven into the very fabric of V's personality. Have you ever noticed how Taehyung speaks? That slow, deliberate, gentle tone? That is a direct inheritance from his father. V has famously stated, time and time again, "My role model is my father." Think about the weight of that sentence. In a world full of celebrities, billionaires, and icons, V looks at his normal, non-famous dad and says, "That is the man I want to be." He wants to have his father's patience, his father's kindness, and his father's ganji, coolness, swag. This places him at number 2 because the admiration flows both ways with such intensity that it feels spiritual. His father treats him with a tenderness that is rare for Korean fathers of that generation. We see it in the way V talks about their weekends together. Unlike the strict study-hard dads, V's dad was the one who told him, "It's okay to fail. If it's too hard, you can quit. There are other jobs. Let's just be happy." Can you imagine the relief that gave to a stressed trainee? That is the treatment of a benevolent king to his heir, prioritizing the son's happiness over his achievements. His father gave him the emotional safety net to take risks, knowing that if he fell, he had a soft place to land. There is also the visual evidence. Every time V posts a photo of his dad from his youth, the internet breaks. The resemblance is uncanny, the same sharp nose, the same cinematic aura. His dad treats V not as a possession, but as a legacy. There are stories of V's dad communicating with fans, showing a politeness and warmth that explains exactly where V got his social butterfly wings. During the difficult times, when V was struggling with burnout or personal loss, his dad was the anchor. The famous line, "It's no big deal, Jurul Sudu Ichi," is a life philosophy passed down from father to son, a mantra that V uses to navigate the chaos of stardom. His father treats him like a fragile, precious soul that needs to be nurtured with wisdom, not just discipline. And let's talk about the friendship aspect. V often describes his relationship with his dad as being like best friends. They go on trips, they talk about everything. This isn't a distant monarch and his subject, it is a partnership. The fact that V, a global superstar who hangs out with Hollywood elite, still considers a quiet drive with his dad to be the peak of happiness proves that the treatment he receives at home is superior to any award show applause. His father makes him feel like the most important person on earth simply by being there. The king's status here is defined by emotional wealth. V was treated like royalty when they had little money, and he is treated like a beloved son now that they have everything. It is a consistent, unwavering beam of love that protected the country boy and turned him into the world's most handsome man. The jacket was just the beginning. The real gift was the confidence to wear it. V is number 2 because his father didn't just raise him. He crafted him with the care of an artisan, ensuring that no matter how high he flew, he would never forget the love that launched him. It is a tear-jerking, beautiful saga of a father's protective instinct winning against the world. But now, only one remains. Who could possibly top the red jacket legend? Who is the member who lives a life that makes king status look like an understatement? Who is the true royal heir of BTS? Number 1. Jin, the real-life Chaebol prince, the CEO's heir who fed the family, a golden spoon used to serve others. Ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the summit. The gold medalist. The undisputed king of our countdown. If the other stories were about overcoming odds, protecting dignity, or finding common ground, this final entry is a glimpse into a life that was practically written in the stars as royalty from the very beginning. We are bowing down to the eldest, the visual god, the man who calls himself worldwide handsome, Kim Seokjin, simply known as Jin. Why does he sit alone at the very top, wearing the crown? Because Jin's relationship with his father is the closest thing K-pop has to a real-life K-drama, where the handsome CEO's son leaves his palace to build his own empire. We are talking about a level of king treatment that involves black cards, ski trips, and a financial safety net that actually saved BTS in their darkest days. To understand why Jin is, number 1, you have to look at the legend of the CEO. For years, the mystery surrounding Jin's background was the stuff of urban legends. While other members spoke of financial hardships, Jin quietly mentioned his father was a CEO of a major supplier company. This wasn't just a job, It was a status. Growing up in the Kim household wasn't about survival, it was about experiences. Jin was treated like a prince, who was being groomed for greatness, but not necessarily on the stage. We are talking about a childhood filled with study abroad programs in Australia, frequent family trips to golf courses and ski resorts, and an allowance that frankly probably rivaled the salaries of some adults. His father treated him with the generosity of a king, bestowing gifts upon his heir. But here is the Edu-Tainment plot twist that makes this story so powerful and worthy of the #1 spot. Jin didn't use this king treatment to become a spoiled brat. He used it to become the mother and savior of BTS. This is the crucial detail. In the early rookie days, when Big Hit was nearly bankrupt and the other members were surviving on meager food allowances, it was Jin who stepped up. Why? Because his father kept his wallet full. Jin would use his own personal allowance money given by his father to buy expensive meats, to buy fresh ingredients, to cook for the starving younger members like Jungkook and V. He even stole, or rather borrowed, pots, pans, and ingredients from his mother's kitchen to feed the group. He was the conduit of his father's wealth flowing into the group. His father didn't just treat Jin like a king. By extension, he funded the survival of the entire band. Imagine the pressure on a father to see his son, who could have had an easy corporate life, choosing to live in a cramped dorm with 6 other sweaty boys. Yet, the support never wavered. The king treatment was unconditional. There is a specific, hilarious, and touching dynamic that defines them now. Jin creates an atmosphere of rich and unbothered that he clearly inherited. His father is described as a man of immense pride and humor, the original source of Jin's legendary dad jokes. The way his father treats him now is a mix of business mogul respect and fanboy bragging. Jin once shared a story about how his dad travels for U.S. business and brings up BTS to everyone he meets, practically beaming with pride. There isn't the quiet, stoic pride of Suga's dad or the artistic pride of Jungkook's dad. This is loud, CEO-level boasting. Do you know BTS? That's my son. It's the ultimate validation. Furthermore, the king lifestyle is something they bond over. They play golf together, a sport that in Korea is often associated with the elite and successful business class. When Jin posts photos of his golfing trips, often implying he is with his dad, it paints a picture of 2 successful men enjoying the fruits of their labor. His father treats him as a peer, a fellow successful man of the world. Even the recent allowance jokes where Jin received a massive allowance of Yeongdon from his aunt and family during holidays, even as a millionaire, show that in his family's eyes, he is still the precious prince who needs to be taken care of. But the most emotional aspect, the reason he is truly #1, is the freedom his father's treatment gave him. Because Jin was treated like a king at home, loved, well-fed, financially secure, he had the emotional surplus to take care of everyone else. He didn't come to BTS needing a father figure. He came to times be times the father figure. His dad's treatment of him was so complete, so fulfilling, that Jin could pour that love out onto 6 strangers who became his brothers. The story of Jin and his father is the backbone of BTS's stability. It is the story of a father who gave his son everything, so his son could give the world everything. From the CEO's office to the stadium stage, Jin has always been treated with a level of comfort and adoration that sets him apart. He is the prince who chose to serve, the rich kid who chose the hard path, and the son who made his successful father realize that being an idol is the greatest business of all. He is, without a shadow of a doubt, the member treated most like a king, simply because he was raised to be one from the very first breath. And that army is the beautiful, diverse, and tear-jerking reality of the fathers behind the legends. 7 boys, 7 fathers, 7 different ways to say, I love you. But in the castle of the Kim family, the crown sits firmly on the head of Seokjin.